Hey YouTube, it's Craig here, and today we're going to talk about safety pens. So what is a safety pen? Well, back in the day, a safety pen was simply just a pen with a screw cap. But for Waterman's terms, it meant it was a pen with a screw cap and a retractable nib. And the idea of it was a pen that you could carry in any position and not worry about it leaking out. Here I have the 1908 catalog. Here is the information about the safety pens. They were heavily marketed towards women, and it showed that it came in 6 different sizes and 3 different styles. So it has a number 2 size, a number 4 size, and a number 5 size. And then there is the VS, or the vest safety, and the regular S, which is the standard safety model. So you can see here I have a vest safety and the standard. So there's only maybe a centimeter or 2 between these 2 models. And then this is another vest safety, and then these are all the later small vest safeties. Here are the basics of a safety pen. So we have the cap, which has a cork in it, which keeps the ink from leaking out of it. Down here we have this turning knob, and the whole idea with this threaded turning knob was you would screw on the cap, and in screwing on the cap, it's going to rotate the nib out of the pen. So it is an eyedropper filled pen. You bring the nib down, eyedropper fill the top of it, and when you bring the nib out, it now seals the pen and allows you to write comfortably without having ink spilling out of it. But if you were to close it up and then tilt the pen over, all the ink would spill out of the pen. So they had this idea of, hey, we'll have the knob be threaded. That way you know you have to take off the cap or bring down the nib before you can recap the pen. And then you can carry it in a purse or in a bag or in your pocket, and you don't have to worry about it leaking out. Whereas every other Waterman out there, you had to carry it upright. Otherwise, there would be a chance that it could leak out. Down here in the base of the barrel, there's another cork, and there's actually a little pin that you use to knock this out, be able to make sure that the pen's sealed. Because if it's a really, really old safety pen, you might need to replace those seals. I personally don't replace those seals. That is something that I have to send out to someone. But I'll leave all the information down below on vintagepens.com on how you do it. David Nishimura offers the O-rings and all the things that you would need to be able to replace the seals yourselves. If I unscrew the base of the barrel here, you can get an idea of what the mechanism on the inside looks like. And this would all be covered in ink if this pen was inked up, because again, you just eyedropper fill the whole barrel and then the whole mechanism is just sitting in ink. But down here, this is the part that would need to be replaced. If you look at the threads on there, you'll notice there is a spiral groove going through the entire barrel. And that's why the nib spirals out when it comes out of the pen. So put this back in. There's that little notch there that fits into the groove. We can screw this all back together. The mechanism on later models just comes straight out. There is no rotation to the nib. It just comes straight out of the pen. And how they did this, if I remove the back end of this pen, is now that mechanism, rather than being straight, it follows a channel on the inside of the pen that is just a straight groove. So this part spins, but the nib does not. I'm not sure why. It might have been easier to manufacture this part than it was to actually put the grooves in there. So they found a way to make it a little bit more cost effective. I need to have the cork replaced on this pen. The mechanism works smoothly enough, but it's not strong enough down here. It needs the cork to be replaced, or the seals to be replaced, because right now you can just push the nib down with your finger, whereas if the seal was replaced, you wouldn't be able to do that. So the first patent for these were from 1908, and that had the old mechanism with a threaded section. So here we have a 12 VS. This is my other one. It is a modeled version of it, really cool cap on it. This is one I do use all the time. So when we do our writing sample, I'll be inking this one up. Again, 12S, it's not a short vest sized one. Then they realized, this one still has the same mechanism, so the nib spins right out when you rotate it, but they kind of realized you don't need to have a threaded section. You can just friction fit it and it'll work exactly the same. So why are we spending the extra money to thread the back end when we can just cut that step off? And here we have another 12 VS. This one has an amazing flexible nib. I did a short about this one, but this was a listing that said there was no nib. So you can actually find these on eBay though, where the seller doesn't know that there's a nib in there. When I was buying this pen, I let the seller know, like, hey, there's a nib, it's just really stuck in there. So they didn't know it was a safety pen. See, I can put pressure on that and it's not gonna push the nib back in. That's because this one has been restored. But great pen, didn't pay that much money for it. In the 1925 catalog, there were a lot more versions. There shows the mechanism, and again, they are promoting this because it is so easy and efficient and simple, and it came in a lot of different versions. Different bands, hand engraved fine, etched, and then these are the smaller ones as well. So lots of different options for the safety pens, but this one has the telescoping cap, so you could have it attached to like a vest chain and then take the cap off and still be able to use it. But the telescoping cap versions of these pens is going to make this a little bit more expensive. Here is just a plain sterling silver one. Again, same mechanism. It just comes straight out. This one is restored. This one also has the telescoping cap. Plain sterling silver with the initials MWD engraved on it. Here's another unrestored one. This one I got from Italy on eBay. This one is really dirty, needs to be cleaned up. And the last one, I just had this one restored. It's a fun one. It says MM. This band is 14 karat gold. And it says the Three Tramps. Not sure what the Three Tramps are, but I just like this little pen. It's a very clean example of a little baby safety. It's a nice little pen. I think these things are awesome. So these are my safety pens. You will be able to find more of them that were made for the French market with 18 karat gold nibs. They were just much more popular in Europe. They kind of fell out of favor here in the US, especially when they started moving towards celluloid. They still made them in the 30s, but they didn't sell as well as they did in Europe. But they're fun pens. I'm gonna ink this one up and do a writing sample for you guys to show you. This is a really cool one. My friend Tim bought it for $60 off of eBay, and he showed it to me when we went out to lunch, and I was like, man, that's a really beautiful early safety. Will you sell it to me? And he goes, no, I really want to keep it. I really like the pen. I just inked it up. And I go, I'll give you $400 for it. And he goes, okay. So I think I paid pretty well for this one, especially with the early knob, the early mechanism, and it's mottled, which is just kind of harder to find. So really, really nice pen. There's a little bit of oxidation over here, but this is a pen that I actually use, so I really, really enjoy it. It's got a great nib on it. All right, so I have my little Waterman stand. I mean, look how cool. Waterman's Ideal Fountain Pen. It's an early made in France piece. But you're gonna take your pen, uncap it just like so. In this case, I'm just going to drop it in there. I'll put the cap down here. This video will include a little mini giveaway. Please make sure you are subscribed. Give the video a like. I have 2 $100 Goulet pens gift cards available. Just leave any comment down below. And on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, I will pick 2 random comments to win. Thanks so much for all the support, you guys. It's been a blast. And now let's fill up this pen and we'll do a writing sample. So I just got this in from Amazon. It's just Waterman Mysterious Blue. Ah, yes. Amazon is where I go to buy my Waterman ink because it's cheap, and Waterman ink is, you know, I'm using Waterman pens. Might as well use some Waterman ink. This seems good to me. Now I will put the cap back on it. Roll it around a little bit. Now if I was just to tip this over, all the ink would dump out. But now I'm going to bring the nib back up. And now if I tilt it over, it's good to go. There's no ink dripping out. All right, so I'm using this notebook. Again, it is just full of writing samples and other nonsense. Look how juicy and wet these things write. I'd say this writes like a medium with flex. Nice flex. Like, look how wet that thing writes. And you can reverse it. You know, as long as you go light with it, you can definitely reverse it. And then you get like a more of a extra fine. But this thing is, since it's, I mean, oh, there's some like railroading, which is fine. Look how shiny, look how wet that is. It is just, the seals do a really, really good job of holding back that ink. One thing to really note too is they are really difficult to clean. Like, you can take the whole pen apart and clean it and that'll probably be better, but just, you know, filling it up with water or any sort of solution and then dumping it out, it just takes a really long time to clean. Kind of like the lever filling pens, they take a really long time you need a lot of patience to clean them. You'll notice I'm not doing the Primus thing right now. I'm not actually listening to Primus right now. I'm listening to a lot of Daft Punk, and recently I watched a TikTok video where they were talking about Chevelle, and I go, oh, Chevelle, I haven't listened to Chevelle in ages. So I went back and I've started listening to some Chevelle and some things from high school. Little quick brown fox. So the video just cut out, didn't even realize it, but I did some other little squiggles and stuff, and, you know, just trying to show off just how wet these are. And I guess what happens is the record time, I think I hit like 35 minutes of recording and it just cut out for some reason. So amazingly wet writer, and you know, you can just really, like, this nib has great flex. I only had one instance of railroading, and then since then I just get this crazy nonstop wetness on here. It's great. You can always find nibs that aren't super crazy wet like this. Let's just see the dry time when I just write like immediately dry. That's really, really light. Just with a little bit more pressure. Yeah, it still smears a little bit. So it's not gonna dry super fast. I mean, unless you barely use any pressure, then you don't have to worry so much about it smearing or anything like that. Really, really great stuff. Awesome nib. It's definitely a conversation starter. It's very different from, say, like a Lamy Dialogue CC or Dialogue 3, or it's cool having a vintage pen that has that same sort of feature where it retracts into the pen. Happy to own some really cool safeties, and I hope you guys check these out in the future. Don't shy away from them. If you need them to be repaired, there's ways of doing it online, and there's people out there that will repair them. And that is the video. Thanks so much, you guys, for checking it out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below. And on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, we'll pick 2 of you guys to win a Google Pens gift card. Thank you so much, you guys. There is so many cool things coming out with 173 Broadway. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Roccanova, and I will see you guys all very soon. All right. Peace.